Hello, this is Howard, the Teaser King, coming to you with, going to just do the NFL Week 7, 2014. We're already at Week 7. First I want to talk about the trends, and then I'll get into the games. The reason I can pick so well, so consistently for so long is because I'll use my data methods. And basically, like this year, it'll show you who's hot and who's cold. And you just go to the hot team. So you don't say, 2 years ago Atlanta was hot, or New Orleans and Indy and everything. As the players change and everything changes, you have to adapt to who's the new team. So if you look at this year, like for example, Philadelphia is 6-0. Well, 2 years ago, Philadelphia was a bet against team. Last year they started to get better. Now this year, so they're 6-0. So you look for Philly. Dallas is 5-1. Baltimore is 5-1. Cleveland is 5-0. So all of a sudden, Cleveland's not the last place team. Now Cleveland's like, a decent Pittsburgh team. So you forget the names. You just look at the trends and you just go there. Indianapolis is 6-0. Andrew Luck. Denver 5-0, San Diego 6-0. So these are the teams you play. Now here's Seattle 3-2. Seattle is not the same team as last year. They're similar, but you win the Super Bowl, it always affects you. So now they're a 3-2 against the number. You don't want to be on Seattle. They won the Super Bowl last year. So you try to see the new trends, and that's who you gravitate to. On the other hand, who's weak? Who do I bet against? Tampa Bay 5-1, New Orleans 5-0, Atlanta 5-1, Washington 5-1, Tennessee 5-1, Pittsburgh 5-1, Jacksonville 6-0, the Jets 6-0. So that's what you look at. And Seattle's 4-1 against, as is Oakland. Even Denver's 4-1. So Denver's 5-0 with and 4-1 against means they're playing close games. So you just play the dog, you play the teaser in the Denver game. So that's what I try to look at, and that you focus on that. So when the game's played, it's like, I'm going to focus on Philly. That's how I'm successful, is by changing to who's the good team, who do I bet on, who do I bet against. We'll go back to 2013 and 14. So this is the 16 games of last year plus the 6 weeks. This year's 22. Some playoff teams, so some teams are 24, 25 games. So you get at the last 25. Why do I do this? Well, because you've had Andrew Luck in the league. You've had some rookies that come in. You've had Peyton Manning go to Denver. You have changes. Now you still have Tom Brady at New England. But now you have Kaepernick at Frisco for a couple of years and Russell Wilson. So you start getting a flavor where they've picked up new guys, or they've drafted guys, or made changes, and so you like to look at a little bit bigger selection, trend, if you may. So let's look at overall there. And Dallas is 17-5. Now here's a strong team that nobody would think. Arizona. Arizona's 18-3 against the number, and they lost at Denver. They lost their quarterback, so they could be 19-2 if Palmer and Stanton don't get hurt against Denver. Well, we knew Palmer was already out, but Stanton plays. The game was close till he got hurt. Their third stringer is terrible, but that's why these aren't 100%. There's an injury here or there. Quarterback has a bad game and throws 5 interceptions. That happens, and that's part of the gamble of it. You can't go 100% as much as you want to and try to pick every game right. It just doesn't happen. Cincinnati 17-5. Should be 18-4 if the kid kicks a field goal last week. But okay, but they're still red hot. Denver 20-4. San Diego 21-3. Kansas City 19-3. And even Seattle 19-5, but they were stronger last year. But overall they're still strong. Who do we go against? Green Bay 18-5. St. Louis 16-5, Atlanta 20-2, Washington 21-1, Tennessee 19-3, Jacksonville 17-5. They're getting there. Houston 20-2. Oakland 17-4. Now, it's not all, these are total numbers. Now, inside here, real quickly, you're looking at home favorite, home dog, road favorite, and road dog. And then you're looking at play against them when they're in these roles. So that's where you're breaking it down. That's why I am so successful. Now, it happens where the trend doesn't work, and that's what happened the last couple of weeks to me, both in college and pro, where the trends are there. I'm picking 90%, 95% trends, but it doesn't mean they're always going to win. What did I have last? I had Cincinnati even. Cincinnati at home is great, but the kid misses a field goal, it's in overtime, they lose. All right. Had Arizona at home against, or I don't remember if they're at home or on the road. No, they're at home against Washington. It was perfect. You had a strong Arizona team against a weak Washington team, but I had to bet it late because Carson Palmer, all of a sudden at 2 o'clock Eastern time, says, "Oh, I'm going to play." Well, all of a sudden that makes it a huge bet. Where if Tyrod Taylor, who was terrible at Virginia Tech, I don't know what he's doing in the NFL. If he's going to start, I can't play Arizona, and that's where it comes, where with the injuries. But even here, if you look at the teams, it shows the role. Like Frisco is 10-1 as a road favorite. New Orleans 10-0 as a home favorite. Cincinnati 8-1 as a home favorite. So you got all them broken out. But here's Cincinnati 8-1 as a home favorite, but they're only 3-3 as a road favorite, and they're 17-5. So when they're the road favorite, you ignore Cincinnati. Any other time, like here, they're a dog this week, you play Cincinnati. They're 4-0 as a road dog. If you go back a little bit farther, they're 8-1 as a road dog since 2012, 13-3 since 2011. So you get the flavor. Wow, that's a real good trend. And that's what I'm doing. I'm taking pocket aces, pocket kings, ace king, and I'm betting them. They don't always win. I wish they did. Then it wouldn't even be, it would be a joke. We'd all be living in Vegas, betting millions of dollars every game, and every game would win. But you have to understand it. And that's why sometimes, if you look at my history page, you'll see if the first team goes down, in other words, you go, "Howard, why are you putting this team in 2 teasers or 3 teasers?" Because the first team, let's say I play a team on a Thursday night. Let's say I play Miami on Thursday with Cincinnati on Sunday. And if Miami loses Thursday, now I've lost Cincinnati in the teaser. I go back and then I go, well, I know, I love Cincinnati. So then I play them in a second teaser because I still like Cincinnati, but they've been knocked out by the first half. And that's why you'll see, if you buy my college or you buy my pros, if you see an early game in college lose, I'll come back. Like last week, I had Penn State against Michigan. I had them early, and whoever I had them with lost. I think it was Auburn maybe. But I still like Penn State, so then I played Penn State later. And that's what I'm doing, is once I like the team, and it's pocket aces, I want to bet it. Now, if the early game wins, then I'm fine. I don't have to re-bet it. But that's what I'm doing. So you have to keep that in mind. I'm only betting very high percent trends, and that's what I'm giving out as the picks. And it's just a matter of, you have to understand that they're not 100%. And over the year, I'll be a winner. I will be a winner. It's just a matter of time. Now that I've got 6-7 weeks in this year, I can, I played the Giants over Philly because the trend of the Giants-Philly series was huge Giants. Now I see Philly 6-0. Would I still make that play? I might bet it small, but I'd still probably take the Giants. Now, I had Frisco over St. Louis, and Frisco was the play against St. Louis. Now, this week, let's go to a game. We got Dallas and the Giants. When I look at it, in the matchup, Dallas and the Giants, I do an individual team versus team. Dallas versus Giants, Dallas versus Washington, Dallas versus Philly. The teams within the division, they play each other twice. Gives you a huge trend. When I look at the Dallas-Giant game, now initially you'd say, oh, I'll take Dallas. Dallas looks like the better team. They just beat Seattle. How is Dallas as a home favorite? How is Dallas overall? Now let's look at the Dallas-Giant I call this more of a micro approach, where I'm microing Dallas versus the Giants specifically. When in the trend, the Giants and the dog are 10-1 the last 11. The dog's 17-4. New York's 11-2 as the dog in the series. Specifically in Dallas, the Giants and the dog are 5-0 the last 5, 10-1 the last 11. So it's a series where the dog covers, and normally Dallas is favored in Dallas, and then the Giants. Now, we can simply take that trend and say, well, let's bet the Giants, which is what we did with Philadelphia. Now, here's where the problem lies. The Giants have injuries. They've lost their best receiver, Cruz. The running back's out. They look terrible against Philly. Will they look as bad against Dallas? That's hard to say. Dallas beat Seattle. They got a miracle 3rd and 20. Okay. Are they going to look like Philadelphia did against the Giants? And that's the key to betting. Here's what happens to most people. Here's the biggest problem. They'll look at the game last week, and they'll see Philadelphia beat the Giants 27-0, and they'll automatically assume, oh, the Giants are going to lose 27-0 this week. Well, they're not playing Philly at Philly this week. They're playing Dallas at Dallas. Or they're at home against Washington. Or they're at Miami. It's all different. It's like dice. You throw a 7 doesn't mean the next roll is a 7. You can throw 3 7s in a row. It doesn't mean the next roll is a 7. And that's what happens in football betting. People will look at last week and go, oh, well, that's the same thing's going to happen. No, it's not going to happen. So you got to be careful with this. So the trend says Giants. The Giants, let's look at the Giants this year. The Giants this year are 3-3 against the number, 4-2 if you go against. Let's look at them since 13. The Giants since 13 are 13-9, playing them 15-7 against. But let's look at the Giants as a road dog, 5-4 and 6-3 against. There's no real trend on the Giants here. Let's look at Dallas. Dallas is 17-5 the last 22. 6-1 is a home favorite. 5-2 if you go against them, and 16-6 going against them. But if you notice, the trend sticks out as Dallas is 6-1 as a home favorite, 3-1 as a home dog, so 9-2 the last 10, the last 11 at home. Makes Dallas a good play. They're 17-5. So here's where you have to go against just blindly taking the numbers. Then you look at the injuries, and everything points to Dallas, should win the game. I'm not, Dallas is laying 6. You take Dallas even. Oh, that's what I'm going to do. But that's not a, the trend is the Giants. Now, I'm going to give you an example last week. San Diego played Oakland, and the trend was Oakland. Oakland was 11-1 against San Diego, I think in Oakland, not necessarily in the series. They don't do as well at San Diego. But in Oakland, Oakland's the play. You teased Oakland and you won 10 out of 11. Well, sure enough, as bad as Oakland is and as good as San Diego is, what happened? San Diego wins by 3. The spread was 6 or 7, so you laid even or 1. So you won with San Diego, but the whole game, the trend was Oakland, and Oakland covers. They both ended up covering, but Oakland was the play. But how do you bet Oakland? They're so bad. The trends are so bad, yet they still covered. Well, that's the same thing. What I'm trying to say is here, the real play is the Giants, but with the injuries, I'm going to excuse that and look at Dallas. So the play I'm making here is Dallas even, but I'm explaining how I get to the play. Because people have to understand, when I pick winners and losers, this is the method I'm going through. And this method has been with me for 30 years. It's extremely successful. You find the hot teams and you bet them. You bet against the cold teams. That's what I do is streaks. But I'm also looking at injuries and matchups. So you've got to understand that. I've had 2 bad weeks. I apologize for that. I've lost the same as you guys have lost. And I apologize for that. And no, Mary, I'm not beating myself up. I'm just explaining. And you've got to just keep going. It's almost like golf. I play a lot of golf. And in golf, you hit the ball into the trees or the water. And you have to say to yourself, I'm playing one shot at a time. It's one shot at a time. I make my shot, good or bad. There's nothing I can do. I've already made it. Now I go to the next shot, try to make the best shot I can. And that philosophy is my life. And that's how I do the football. If I'm mad, I'm terribly upset I lost the last 2 weeks. But what am I going to do? I'm looking at this the same way. I see trends. I'm going to make good plays. And that's what I'm basically doing. So let's get on to the games. Who do I like? Who am I going to give you? All right. Cleveland laying 5.5 to Jacksonville. Let's play Cleveland. Why? Jacksonville's a bet against team. Their trend is 17-5 against, and as a home underdog, a bet against 8-1. Why do we bet Cleveland? Do we trust Cleveland? Yes, we trust Cleveland. Cleveland had just killed Pittsburgh. They played Baltimore well. They lost at the end. They beat New Orleans. They're on the road. Jacksonville is bet against, so I look at Cleveland as a different team. Like, Cleveland's going to win this game. Before, I would never take Cleveland. I would call them a weak road favorite. Now I don't. Now I call them a fairly strong favorite, or not a strong favorite, but they're almost a playoff team. They're not quite, but there's certain categories. There's the teams that win 11, 12, 13 games. Those are the A teams. Those are teams you trust as road favorites. That's New England. That's Denver. That's Seattle, Frisco. Then you get your secondary teams, your teams that are like 5 and maybe 6 and 10 to about 9 and 7. Those are teams you don't trust that much. You trust in certain roles. Then there's the teams that are the Jacksonvilles, Tennessees, the Washingtons they win between 0 and 4 games a year. And those are the teams you look for and hammer. But the key is those teams change every year. Not every year the 12-win teams are the same, and not every year the 0 and 4 teams are the same. And that's the key to gambling on these football games. You have to find the 12-win team, and you have to find the 2-win team. And you bet against the 2-win team, and you bet on the 12, 13, 14-win team. And as they mix, and injuries, and new coaches, and new quarterbacks, it all adjusts. This year I like Cincinnati to win the AFC. Yeah, there's Denver, there's New England, there's San Diego. I also like San Diego. I like to think San Diego, Cincinnati in the championship game. I know there's Denver and Manning, and there's New England. They seem to be weak defensively again. They got Tom Brady and they got Peyton Manning, so you give them respect. But I see San Diego coming and I see Cincinnati coming. And maybe they're there now, but those are teams I trust to win. That's why I bet San Diego last week. The trend was Oakland, but I trusted San Diego. They're a different team. So Cleveland's getting into that 8-8 realm where you can trust them against a 0-win Jacksonville team who probably, they'll win a couple games, but not a lot. I don't see them winning at Cleveland. Next game, let's say, now let's go to Arizona laying 3 to Oakland. This to me is a very good play. Carson Palmer seems to be playing. This spread should be 7. Arizona is the 12-win team I've been talking about. Oakland is the 2-win team. Derek Carr looks good. I like Derek Carr. I liked him at Fresno State. I won a lot of money on him at Fresno State. However, Arizona's got one of the best secondaries in the league with Patrick Peterson, Honey Badger, good pass rush, much better than San Diego was last year. And, San Diego's a rivalry game. Arizona needs to win. They're in first place, so this is a 12-13 win team. Any other, if this was New England, they'd be 7 or 8. If this was Denver, they'd be much higher. So to only lay 3, this is, to me, Oakland's a bet against home dog. Arizona is a bet on team, even as a road favorite. Let's look at Arizona as a road favorite since 2012. Well, they're 2-0 since 2013 as a road favorite, but they're 18-3 overall. And it's just they haven't been a road favorite. As a road dog, they're 6-2, and as a home dog, as a home favorite, they're 5-0. So as a favorite, they're 7-0. On the road, they're 8-2. So they're that type of team. But Oakland as a home dog, if you bet against Oakland as a home dog, you're 6-1, and if you bet them again at home, you're 8-1. That's since 2013. Since 2012, Oakland bet against as a home dog 9-2, overall 14-3. You bet against Oakland at home. Now they've been bad, and I like I said, I like the quarterback Carr. He's very good, but at this point you have to bet against them. You take Arizona here. Arizona's strong defense. That's really what you win with on the road. So take Arizona. I've talked about Dallas. Take Dallas minus the even, minus a half against the Giants. Arizona, you got Cleveland. Let's go to let's do Detroit, New Orleans. Now before, this would automatically be in New Orleans. Take the 9 against Detroit all day, all night. Now what's confusing is where is New Orleans? They're not a 12, 13 win team anymore. They're more on the 3, 4, 5 win side. Where's Detroit? Yeah, they're probably still an 8 and 8, 9 and 7 team. They got a very good defense. They're very hard at home. Now here's where I get into the analysis. Who did they beat? They beat Eli Manning big. They beat Aaron Rodgers. Now you got to respect that. They beat Aaron Rodgers 19-7. They only got a couple hundred. They got like 100.5 total yards on the Lions in that game. So even though Detroit doesn't have that good of offense because Kelvin Johnson's out, they'll put up enough points. New Orleans' defense is terrible. So again, normally this would be New Orleans 9. Well, let's go to the trend. So we look at New Orleans as a road dog. You'd think it'd be pretty good. It's 4-1 with, but it's 5-0 against through 2013. We go back to 2012, and they're 6-4 as a road dog. But if you go against them, they're 9-1. You have a 90% trend since 2012 that New Orleans is a road dog you bet against. So they're not that type of team. Dallas blew them out by 100 points. You can tell when New Orleans needs the game. And the lock I had against Minnesota with New Orleans, they barely won it. I mean, they won 20-9. It was a must-win game, and they couldn't handle Minnesota. And that's my point. When you see a team like that and they can't handle it, you know there's trouble. And to me, New Orleans is just not the same. Yeah, they have Drew Brees, but something's wrong there. So I don't know if it's injuries or what, but. And the other factor is Lombardi, the offensive coordinator from Detroit, was the offensive coordinator at New Orleans. He'll know quite a few of their plays. Detroit's got the defense. They'll have enough offense to win. Take Detroit plus the 3, 3.5, whatever you can get. In the last game, Denver laying 6.5 to San Francisco. Okay, now I'm going to ask you, what do you think the final score is going to be? And that's how you bet. Denver-Frisco. Forget the point spread. Pick the final score. 23-20, 28-24, maybe 31-30. Do you honestly think Denver is going to win this game 35-10? In your wildest dreams, you're going to put up 35 on Frisco? I know Navarro Bowman's out. I know one of the Smith boys is out. I know that. But then you got Kaepernick in the offense, which started to show light against St. Louis. Well, let's look at the trend. Denver's really strong as a home favorite, and as I said, they're very strong. Well, let's look at Frisco as a road dog. They're 2-1 since 13 because they're never the road dog. Well, let's look at them since 2012. Frisco's a road dog, 4-2 with, 4-2 against. But as a road favorite, they're 13-4. Let's look at them since 2013, Frisco's a road favorite, 10-1. Overall, they're 12-2 on the road. Against them, they're 3-7 if you go against them as a road favorite. Unbelievable. So what does that tell you? Frisco on the road, who's normally a favorite, is now a dog. And believe me, they know they're a dog. And they're not happy they're a dog. And can anybody beat them by 13 points? There's no way. I mean, Denver, I respect Denver, but there's no way Denver is going to... Denver played Seattle. What happened? They lost. We all know what happened in the Super Bowl. Frisco is a similar defense. And you've got to respect that. Now, this isn't... You don't bet this game real strong because you've got to respect Denver and Manning at home. But, on the other hand, Frisco getting 12.5, 13 points, you have to play. There's no way anybody's better than them by 13. Seattle would not beat them by 13 at home. Now we'll look at Denver. They're 11-2 as a home favorite since 13, and they're 20-4 in a teaser. So you have to respect Denver, and you have to say Denver will probably win this game by about a field goal, maybe 6, 13, 12.5, 13. There's no way that's going to happen. I mean, here's pocket kings. The guy could have pocket aces on you. It could happen. But you got to play your pocket kings. That's what's happening here. You've got to take Frisco and 12.5. Because if you look at the game without points, you say Denver's absolutely going to beat Frisco. Is Frisco a weak team? One of these 0-4 win teams? Absolutely not. They're a 12-win team. You got a 12-win team playing a 12-win team. You take the underdog. Normally the spreads are only 3 and 4. You're getting 13 points. That's a joke. You have to play that. That's my point. I do have a good lot going. I haven't told you those teams. I have too many customers who buy locks, who buy that. I can't give that out here. I'm sorry. If you bought it, and then I set it here, you go, well, why do I have to buy it? He's going to give me the picks there. So, I mean, that's why I don't do it. It's just not ethical. But I've given you picks that I will play this week. Definitely Arizona, definitely Cleveland. Those are my picks. The locks out there, and just the other trends you just got to look at. But when you're looking at the game, look at it without points and say, who do you think is going to win? And if you can't determine that, 9 times out of 10 you take the underdog. And even when the good teams play the good teams, you tend to take the points. If Frisco goes to Seattle, I'm taking the dog. I took the dog. Check my record in the NFC Championship game. Frisco was at Seattle. Frisco had them buried. Should have won the game, but I had Frisco at Seattle. And if they can do it at Seattle, I'm not worried about them doing it at Denver, because they'll put pressure on Manning, and they're gonna, good luck stopping Kaepernick. I see they're finally, and I'm looking at the Ram game, and they were behind, and they got that lucky play at half, the high school play where they didn't put the guy who got caught on the stop and go. But I mean, it looks like the 49ers are back and at least heading in the right direction, and they're going to put pressure on them. And you got Harbaugh. You're betting on Harbaugh. Kaepernick I don't love, but he seems to be getting better, and they're getting better play calls. And I like Manning, but I don't like him here. I like him against Pittsburgh here. I like him against Buffalo here, Detroit here, Chicago here. All those teams, yeah, I love them. I love them there, but not here. And I know Frisco blew the lead against the Bears, and they had some early season, but lately they've been playing well. They did beat Philadelphia. They did beat Kansas City. Now they won at the Rams on a Monday night. So you got to take all that into consideration. So anyway, those are some good picks for this week. Remember, you just keep playing. You forget what happened. You can't just quit. You have the mentality. You lower your plays. If I'm getting cold, I lower my plays. I'll lower the amounts. But if the game's worth playing, the game's worth playing. Anyway, I don't know if I'm going to have a college. I don't have time. I'm going to Vegas tomorrow. And basically, I'm going to bet this weekend, next week there. So, got to get ready for that. I'll try to do a quick college one. But basically, this is your NFL. And these are very, very strong picks, as always. And we should hit them and make some money. We got to get some money. All right, everybody. Well, good luck. Again, www.teaserking.com. Please ask questions. I've had several people email me, what do you like on this game? What do you like on that game? And I'm very happy to say it. I would definitely buy the Pro. I have good college going this week. I have some real off-the-chart games that I'm like going, okay, enough with the Alabamas. Now we're going to play some good teams that are covering. So anyway, have a great weekend, everybody. Good luck, and I'm here for you.